All right. Um, so I'm just going to walk you through how to use the Sqlite browser if you've never used it before. It's pretty easy. I wouldn't recommend doing a project just yet. I don't really know much about that aspect. But there's these four tabs up here. So there's database structure, browse data, edit pragmas, and execute SQL. So all four of these are going to relate to a single database that you use. In our case, I downloaded that SQLite file that I put up online on the cloud. Um, I'll also put the link to that file in the description, or I'll send it to you in a DM if you'd like. But you just go to Open Database, and then you just browse to that file. So mine's in my downloads folder, and it's this mydb.sqlite. So I'm going to click this, and then it just brings it all in. And so this first tab, the database structure, shows me what's in the database. So I have my tables here. I can't zoom in, so I apologize. And then I have title basics. And so maybe I can zoom in on my OBS. Let's see. No, not really. Sorry. I'm trying to do this right here live and it's just not good. So I apologize. I'm just like refitting the screen. Oh, that's why. Okay, because I'm like resizing the wrong thing. There we go. Sorry. Okay, so this says title basics. And this is the name of the table, and then these are the names of all the columns. So we have an index column, a T constant column, title type column, primary title, original title, is adult, start year, end year, runtime minutes, and genres. And then it's got the type for each column. So we have integers, and then everything else is text, which is going to be a problem. And this happens with some data. So like it's good to have this problem in this database or in this table so you can see how to like get out of some of the problems and just kind of learn more SQL. It's got the statement that was used to create the title or to create the table here. And then it's just got these as well. So this is sort of an overview. This is really important stuff. It's good to just learn how to read it. But the big question is like, how do I just get it into the database and start querying it? So you want to go to execute SQL here. And here I can put in some SQL. I think that's a tab. Okay, cool. So this is a tab. I don't know how to even open a new tab on this. There's probably a button up here, but I'm just going to say select star from title basics. And then I'm going to put limit 100. And there's like 800,000 rows. Actually, let's count the number of rows. So count number of rows. This is just a comment. Comments in code are just things that the code, you can put it in the code, but the code interpreter, or in our case, a SQL engine, just will ignore it. So it's really just to communicate information to people reading. All right, so we're going to count the number of rows. So to do that, we're going to go count select. You always put select count star from title basics. And this is just a general query that you'll use over and over again to just see, hey, how many rows do I have in this table? I'm going to highlight it and hit play. And it should just run this query. Yeah, so there are 8,974,009 rows in this table, which is a lot. So whenever we query this table, we want to put a limit here, because if we don't put a limit, it's going to pull all 8 million rows every query. It shouldn't be too bad. The first query will take a while, but I think it caches it into memory. I think this program that you're using, this DB browser program, will just cache it into memory. So from then it's just like accessing your computer memory to get the information, but still it's just better to put a limit. So we'll select everything. I'm going to highlight this one and run it. And then I see everything here. So I see my index column, my T constant column, my title type column, my primary title column, original data is adult, start year, etc., etc. So this looks kind of like an Excel spreadsheet, because it kind of is, right? Like a spreadsheet is really just a table. The benefit of a table is you can access it using SQL, and you can sort of do some cool stuff with it that you'll learn later. So let's do a few exercises. Let's select all movies with a start year greater than 1990. Okay. So this is going to be a conditional one. So we're going to select star. So in the select statement, what goes here are the columns that you want, right? So in this case, the star just means get all the columns. Next is from title basics. And then now we put our conditions. So we want to get the columns from title basics where the start year is greater than 1990. And if we want equal to 1990, we can put a greater than or equal to sign, and that should work. Let's go ahead and do it like that. And also limit 100, because we don't want to grab everything. Let's run this. And you see we got some start years here. This looks good. Ooh, this one doesn't have. Okay, so yeah, this is where this is an issue, right? Because this doesn't actually have a year in it, but it read it greater than 1990. And I'll explain why later. But so just ignore that for now. But yeah, we see all these are greater than 1990 now in the start year column. Let's do that same thing, but instead of start year greater, let's do start year greater than 1990 and runtime minutes less than, let's just say less than 90, right? Let's find movies that have been made in 1990 that are less than or equal to 90 minutes long, which I can't imagine is a ton, but who knows? So we'll do select star from title basic. So we're going to do the same query. Oh, I already copy pasted it. I don't need to do that twice. The only difference is in our where statement, we're going to put an and. So where start year is greater than or equal to 1990 and runtime minutes is less than, and I think this will throw an error. So you'll see this less than or equal to 90. And if I run it, there should be an error that happens, I believe. Oh, sorry, I have to select everything. Cool. Oh, no error. But like this says 60. Do you see that? That says 102. Oh, 60 works. This says 133. This says 102. This says 118. So like we have all these weird, stupid things happening. And the reason is because if I go back to my database structure tab, if I look at runtime minutes, it's a text column. So it's reading it as text. It's not reading it as numbers. So it doesn't recognize 133 as a number. It recognizes it as a letter. So the way text works is it goes A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Actually, I think it's capital. I don't think case matters in SQL, so we'll just do lowercase. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. And then I think at the beginning it goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like this. So when we talk about alphabetical order in text, it looks at the number first, what's in the front. I mean, it's just like alphabetical order, but now we're including digits. So 90, right? Like if we compare, hey, what's bigger, 90 or 133? Well, in text, 90 is greater because it starts with a 9 and this starts with a 1 because it's doing it in alphabetical order. So it's like, hey, 9 is greater than 1. Is that right? Yeah, it is greater because it starts with a 9, the other one starts with a 1. It doesn't care that this is 133. It just says, what does it start with? Right. And there's a way we can fix this. Don't worry about it now. Just like deal with the fact that it sucks. And just be okay with that right now, because the way to fix it is a little more advanced, but it's like something we do all the time. So, let's do another thing. Let's do another select star. So alphabetical order sucks with numbers. It doesn't actually suck with numbers. It just depends on the type of numbers you're using. Like we did alphabetical order with start year, and it works because all the start years have 4 digits in them. So, you know, it's comparing the first digit is actually the same thing, whether it's a number or a letter, because they're all 4 digits long. It doesn't work here where some things have 1 digit, some things have 2, some things have 3. So that's really the reason why it's bad. If all these were represented in 4 digits or 3 digits, this would actually work with strings. So let's do this other exercise. Let's select the title type and primary title of all movies that are documentaries. I'm just going to spell it like this. So I'm going to go select, and instead of saying get all the columns, I just want title type, and I want primary title from table, from title, basics, where, and this time we want the genre to be documentary, right? So let's just do where genres equals documentary, just like that. So we're going to grab Control Z. Sorry. We're going to highlight this and we're going to hit run. Oh, and it's taking it didn't take super long. Let's actually grab the genre column as well, just so we can verify. And it didn't take super long, so we won't put a limit on it. Cool. So I have all these movies. I have their title type, I have their primary title, and I have their genres here. If you're wondering why we put the comma first, it is weird. It's a syntax that I hated. It's kind of a standard for SQL once you start getting pretty advanced, because if you put it at the end, like you can actually put equations here, and if you put the commas at the end, it can be hard to find where the hell they are at. So if you just put them at the very beginning, it's just easier to find them and locate them. That's why we do it. I'm going to rewrite this query because I want to show you something else about SQL. So SQL is a white space language, which means title type, primary title. I'm going to just basically do this whole thing again, which just means that all the new lines that I'm entering, like all the enters and the tabs that you're seeing, don't matter to SQL. It doesn't really care about them. When it runs SQL, it reduces all of these down to just a single white space. So it'll actually, when it goes through the engine, it'll just turn this into this. It'll turn this into this, and this into this. So basically it's taking this whole thing I wrote and putting it on a single line anyways. The enters and the tabs are for us so we can read it. So it's for the sake of readability, which is important. So you want to follow this kind of structure. You want the SQL keywords like select, from, where to be furthest on the left, and then everything under them to be tabbed over. And then you'll have more tabs. You can like tab over as your queries get more advanced, but for now, this should be fine. So I'm going to highlight this and run it, and I'll get the same result because they're the same query. Just this one, is using spaces, and this one's using new lines and tabs and other things. Okay, the next thing I wanted to show you, or I wanted to talk about was, so let's run this query again, right? Oh my gosh. I wonder if I just put it here. Nope. It runs everything. So you have to highlight the query you want to run. So I grabbed documentary, but the problem is like some movies are documentary in short, or documentary music in short, and I didn't get those movies. I only got the movies where the genre column equals documentary, right? So how do we get it? How do we get it? How do we get all the movies where documentary just shows up in the genres, right? So that was cool, but what about movies where genres, where documentary is one of many genres, right? And not just the only genre. So that's actually really easy to do. You want to take this, and genres is a string. And so there's a couple of ways you can do this in SQL. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say genres like, and I'm going to put these number signs here. So I'm going to say this means anything goes. It's a wildcard character. So what that means is, all right, we're going to select all the things, but this time we're going to say where genres is like this string that we typed in. Well, what is this string that we typed in? So we see the word documentary, and we see these two symbols on both sides of it. And what that means is anything on the left. So it can be, we can have anything we want on the left, and then we want the word documentary and anything we want on the right. And basically that just means the word documentary just needs to appear in this list, in this string, right? And this just means anything can come before it and anything can come after it. So I'm going to run this example, and then I'm going to show you a difference between this and another example. So let me see if I can open up a new tab. Cool, I did. So do you see how we have documentary short? So documentaries at the front here, documentaries in the middle, and that's because comedies to the left and shorts to the right. And it doesn't matter what's to the left and the right because we put this here, right? So I'm going to grab the same query. I'm going to put it here, and this time I'm going to remove this. And what this means is we want this string to look like the word documentary and anything can come after it. So if I grab this query, I didn't highlight all of it. Notice that all of these have documentary at the front because we said, hey, it needs to look like this. And we didn't say anything can come in the front. We said documentary needs to be first, then anything. In this query, we said documentary, we said anything can be in the front, and then documentary needs to happen at some point, and then anything can come afterwards. So you have comedy in the front, documentary, and short, and these commas as well, but don't worry about that. So, and this one we specified it. So now, what if I run this query, right? We'll take the same query, and we'll put this here. We'll put this here. And I run it. So now we're saying documentary needs to come at the end. So adventure documentary, action comedy documentary, etc., etc. So this is helpful. This is helpful if you're like, hey, I want all the addresses where people live in Texas, right? So, you want it to end in TX or Texas. And so this is a way you could do that. Okay. I think that's enough to get you going. I think you should just play around with this. Like, this data set's interesting, right? Check out some movies, try and find some interesting things about movies. And yeah, I hope this was helpful. I'm going to stop recording. I'm going to upload this to Google, and I'll also send you a link on Facebook. Thanks for watching.